It's that time of the morning where we ask a politician questions regarding their political campaigns ahead of the 29th of May. Our guest today has been in the political arena for some time now. He founded his party in 1997 and has been a member of a parliament since then. This politician is shifting gears slightly this election. If you are wondering who we are talking about, it's none other than the leader of the United Democratic Movement, who announced that he will be vying for the Premier seat in the Eastern Cape. Well, let's get into this morning's Ask a Politician with UDM President Bantu Holomisa. General Holomisa, good morning. Thank you so much for waking up so early and being part of our conversation this morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Yep.
Looking forward to answer any questions you might have in your mind.
And what has been written down as well. Let's start here. The party is formed in 1997.
Yes.
And you've been at the helm of the party since 1997.
Yes.
How do you explain that?
Well, I've not yet broken the record. The former president of the ANC was in the helm for more than 30 years, over Tambo. So I wish I can reach his goal. But on a serious note, we are depending on the structures of the party. They are the ones who have got the power to change leadership. Mm-hmm. But in my case, I wish I can be free soon so that I can go and play golf and enjoy myself.
Why do you think that is the case, that year in, year out, Bantu Holomisa comes back as the leader of the UDM? Does it speak to at all the lack of creating an environment for succession, or even to say, let's mentor people within the UDM so that they can take over?
I will take the latter part of your statement. I've been mentoring leadership. Today you have a deputy president who is so eloquent and is young. You have the Secretary General, Zigebe, who is 35 years old. He has just wrote his final examination on Masters last year. So you have also other people who have graduated from universities who are councillors, especially in the Eastern Cape. I'm satisfied with that kind of leadership. Here in Gauteng, we have a string of young people as well. So I'm satisfied that if the conference of the UDM at the end of this year was to change the vanguard of the leadership, they are free. And I would be happy to say those people can run the UDM. After all, if you are honest to yourselves, you hardly see me on television these days. In the last 3 years, been run by Kwankwa. Mm-hmm.
Is that the person that you anticipate would be taking over?
That will depend on the structures, but he still, I hope, they will endorse him, because I don't have powers to nominate or choose people. Yeah.
So are you saying with the next elective conference that you will not avail yourself?
No, I will if the structures nominate.
You will still avail yourself?
Yes.
Why?
Why are you worried about UDM's leader? Because you still have dinosaurs who are running this country at union buildings. What's your problem?
It's not my problem per se, but we're saying that there's a party that is formed in 1997. And since the formation of the party, that party has only had one leader in this particular case.
I agree with you, so I've answered you.
Yes.
There will be no change until the structures of the party have said, Holomisa, we are not going to nominating you this year. We'll accept that. Yeah. So what I would suggest you do, bring other UDM structures and you have this engagement. I can't talk about myself. It's unethical.
But what conversations do you have? Because you do come with a set.
I'm here to talk about the manifesto. You are eating my airtime on issues I've raised in the manifesto. This is not an issue for us. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, it's not an issue for you, but it's an issue for our audience as well. To understand what the thinking is within the UDM.
But I've answered you. What more do you want? I've said the conference will take a decision.
Yeah. But your own conscience as well. Though,
I've got a conscience to say, if I'm nominated, I will lead UDM. If that is a problem for you, go jump.
Okay.
Yes.
2015, still staking with the issue around leadership of the UDM. Khanyile Litchfield Shabalala is elected the deputy president of the UDM, which was an interesting move because she just left the EFF. A lot of people weren't even expecting that something like that would happen. But she joins the UDM, goes all the way up as elected by the structures of the UDM. Then what happens?
Unfortunately, somebody wrote to us and said, on what basis are we going to allow this person to be at the level of leadership in the UDM, given what has happened in the SANDF where she was. So we simply sent a letter to her to respond to those allegations, things which were related to computers of SANDF and so on. Then she opted to resign. That's it.
And that was it? And did you find that those allegations were true?
Yes, yes. That's why she was removed in the defense.
Are you at liberty to share with us what those allegations were?
No. You must call her and then verify that from her.
Okay. Your decision to stand for the Premiership candidacy in the Eastern Cape, what informed that decision?
The UDM was approached, including myself, by the UDM structures in the province, the traditional leaders, business people, religious leaders, to say, during your time when you were in charge of Transkei, at least there was peace. Currently, we are living in fear. The rate of unemployment in the Eastern Cape is too high. And we need a champion who is going to sit on the neck of the national government to say, let us scientifically approach or do a research on how much budget is allocated to that province. This is the second largest province, and it's got a lot of people. So we are going to look into that. But my wish is that the government of national unity we once saw in 1994 should be cascaded this time around to be at the provincial level in the Eastern Cape, so that not one political party will dominate the space there. We need to improve the checks and balances and make sure that we agree on the program. For instance, a lot of money is thrown to the municipalities. But when you look at the services delivered, you will find that there's lack of discipline. Sometimes the so-called consultants are taking advantage of the fact that these municipalities have no qualified personnel. So we need to look into that because municipalities are in the forefront of the first line of the service delivery.
Yeah, so, and looking into that though, if you look at the numbers that the UDM has secured over the past few years in the Eastern Cape, it has never been, has it ever been above 3? I think not, yeah? Okay, it was at 3 in 2004, but now in 2019, the UDM only has 1 seat. Do you think though...
1 seat? Where do you get that from?
This is this is now looking at the Eastern Cape National Assembly,
Go and
2019.
do your research a little bit.
Where is it? This is what I'm looking at right now.
Okay, let me help.
It's two. Sorry, it's 2
let
seats.
me help
it's
you.
2
I
seats,
see
2
where
seats,
you
yeah,
are
2 seats. I got that. Yeah.
You see what I've done in the UDM. You should be asking relevant questions. How do UDM succeed in doing in delivering what they have identified to be a wrong thing?
Yeah.
For that reason, the United Democratic, we don't worry much about the numbers, but we deliver quality. That's why today you don't have a speaker in parliament. That's why today you don't have Tokatso taking over SAA. That's why today you don't have a former chair or CEO of the IEC. That's why today the people of South Africa knew that the PIC was established to be a piggy bank of the comrades. That is UDM. So there's many. It is UDM who brought the secret ballot in the High Court of this country. So we don't worry about your numbers. But if I'm saying to you, I've accepted to be a Premier of the Eastern Cape, we may not necessarily win the Eastern Cape outright. But if the ANC doesn't win the Eastern Cape, or any other party for that matter, I'm proposing that there be a national, a provincial unity government. That's what we should be looking
is that
at.
not coming through the back door, though?
What is the back door?
To say that, listen, there's an election that's taking place. This particular party has won the election, so that particular party would then choose who becomes the
No,
premier.
they can do that. But the main issue I'm selling to you is that we need to have a provincial unity government. Don't worry about Holomisa. I've been offered these positions even by the illuminaries of this world, like Mandela, but I said, no, Daddy, once bitten, twice shy. Trust issues with your organization. I won't come closer to that.
So some of the proposals, General, a local stock exchange, and also local stock exchanges, it's plural, and also looking at the intercity high-speed rail system. Let's start with the local stock exchanges. What is it that the UDM is envisaging here?
Well, you will find that a lot of people every weekend, they meet in different groups and push each other and assist each other financially. So there's a lot of generation of money at that level. But what you need is just to regulate it and see whether we cannot help those people to run proper business for themselves. That would include a need to establish sector banks so that the kids of today, if they want to be involved in the textile after they've graduated, you immediately say, here is a startup capital. Go and start your own thing. Also, it also includes that there is a need for a national fund, like the Afrikaners did in 1948, who were poor like us. Why are we shy in not investing in the youth of today so that we create wealth creators, we build wealth creators for the future, people who are going to create jobs. But also look at this business, which the people are involved in, Abo Makulu, Bofagu 50 Rand per month, let's help so-and-so, Masngabane, all those things. I think we need to assist those people in a form of a regulations which would guide them, because there are also tsotsis there.
Do you think, actually, because now you're speaking about something that has been part of our indigenous knowledge systems as Africans, that when it comes to the stockfell and how we've been doing stockfelling in this country specifically, that it has now been hijacked by the big financial institutions like banks, and it is not really benefiting the people who are depositing the money into those accounts.
That's precisely why I say we need to help those people, because that money is being taxed now by the banks, and sometimes there's no accountability.
A high-speed rail system, an intercity high-speed rail system, where is this? Where would this be taking place?
If you look at the geography of South Africa, or geographical landscape, if you travel, for instance, from Mthatha to Kokstad, Pietermaritzburg, Johannesburg, it takes a lot of time, and that route is very hazardous in terms of accidents. Imagine if you were to have a speed train linking to Kokstad or Maritzburg from Mthatha and then to Johannesburg. So at least you would save lives, time. If, for instance, I want to go and watch a match, Kaizer Chiefs match.
Oh, you want to go play golf?
Yes. No, Kaizer Chiefs. So I wake up in the morning and take a train at 6 o'clock, and then by 10 o'clock, I'm in Johannesburg, do a little bit of shopping, whatever, and then in the afternoon after the game, I board the train, 10 o'clock in the evening, I'm back in Mthatha. So we see these things in the world where we travel. If you go to Europe, you will find that it's not fashionable to use aircraft. You will be more quicker.
On the rail.
Yeah, on the rail.
On the rail. So, General, what we do on the show as well, we go out and ask our viewers any questions that they have for a politician, and we have a few. Let's quickly get some of those questions in.
Why are we still struggling learners at school? for free education. They say government is people by the people, but on government, my sister, we don't see people by the people. On government, after 1994, there are many things that were happening or start to happen since the millennium. We don't see free education.
What's the UDM's answer to education?
We have been calling for free education from time immemorial. Thanks to former President Zuma, who on the eve of his departure, he announced a free education. It's the same crisis which you see now on HI, yes, where they say, we have this policy, but you know that the implementation, it might take another 5 years. Mm-hmm. Now, on the education, the government did allocate monies, but the administering of those funds, whether you talk SITAs, you talk NSFAS, the crisis there has been the misuse of those funds, corruption. People move away from building, which is costing 500,000 per month, to a new building, which is costing them 2 million. And we have raised these issues. But unfortunately, you have this minister in that department who thinks that he knows it all. But as long as you have Blade Nzimande as a minister there, you are wasting your time. This free education system will never be implemented. So Angie and Blade Nzimande, thank you, you have done well. But after elections, if there is a new government, we will say bye-bye to you and we start implementing the policies which South Africans are in need of. And some of those policies have been developed by all South Africans.
All right, here we have another question from our viewers.
Question, of course, would be, if after 29 years of a so-called new dawn of democracy, why is our country still in the current state that we find ourselves in? Why is crime every day on an increase? Why are still a lot of young people unemployed? Why are still so many people without housing today?
What happened? Because I remember with the New Dawn, 2018, the State of the Nation address, and I remember even the opposition applauding the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, after he delivered that speech. What do you think then happened?
It's unfortunate that Cyril Ramaphosa didn't read the signals and he didn't act quickly to come up with a new team. He carried over the wood, the dead wood along with him, and they've undermined him. Take, for instance, the issue of the pensioners. The pensioners, ex-civil servants of SA, TBVC State and other homelands, they have been asking for their pensions to be paid or settled. President Ramaphosa asked the Minister of Finance to address this issue. In the SONA last year, I raised it. Up to this stage, that minister defied that president, defied Ramaphosa. That means the sender cannot hold. What do you expect? Because there's no one who is going to monitor whether there's a recruitment of new factories or building of new factories, recruitment of new businesses and investors. So there is no government here. Let us not massage this thing. There is no government. No one is accountable. Everybody is doing as it pleases.
On international relations, the UDM speaks about anti-dumping and what we've seen happen in the country as well when it comes to dumping. What approach does the UDM think should be taken when it comes to dealing with that specific element around anti-dumping? And also, I'd love to hear your view on the ICJ matter that's being heard today and tomorrow, and new measures that South Africa is asking for. Do you think that South Africa should be severing ties with Israel?
The United Democratic Movement believes that we should be careful in ratifying these international conventions without the approval of Parliament. Good example is that you will go to these international conferences, whether it's for WTO, health, and so on. We are good in in signing, because we don't send members of parliament and cabinet ministers to be in the vanguard of negotiations. We leave this to the bureaucrats. And sometimes these policies of dumping, like if we look at when we had GATT, we moved from GATT to WTO. China resisted to be part of the WTO for years, but they continued to dump all over the world, including in America. So we need, therefore, to say, why would South Africa order the things from outside or allowed to come inside the country, whereas they can be manufactured locally? So we need a little bit of protection. And we have got a strong case because we can go to the WTO or any other international institution and say, don't forget that South Africa was once hit by sanctions. And we're lagging far behind by about 20 years in terms of technology. So we need a space so that we can look at these tariffs and build our economy, especially to say the majority citizens of South Africa are not active participants in the economy. I'm sure the international community would be sympathetic to us. Let's go and engage them and say, this list of things, they mustn't come into the country. We have made a provision. The youth of South Africa, they are going to manufacture them. They have created sector bank for them, and so banks for them. Please.
Yeah, and we have electricity now. Severing ties with Israel, what do you think?
No, I don't think the issue of Israel will be solved by one political party. That issue needs a national debate properly, not that in parliament where they use numbers. The truth of the matter is that the USA, as long as USA is vetoing the UN Security Council resolutions, the issue of Israel and Palestine will never be solved. If I were in the boots of Cyril Ramaphosa, I would use the style of Madiba, where, for instance, in Burundi, he called Clinton to say, let's go and solve the issue in Burundi. It worked. Congo, it worked. But what's wrong in Cyril Ramaphosa? But anyway, he's only left with 8 days. So what's wrong? If he had called Hamas, first, Hamas and Palestine, PLO, you need to make sure that those people, that two groups, they speak one language. Hamas and Palestinians. Once a PLO rather, once they agree, then you can say, what are the demands? Then you bring Israel, you bring USA, you bring South Africa must chair that session. I'm sure we can get somewhere. We can get somewhere.
NHI, quickly, you did say earlier on, you touched a bit on it, the implementation. That's always the issue. But the UDM's view on NHI?
The UDM would welcome any policy which would improve the health system of South Africa, which would include the poorest of the poor. But right now, we have to be careful. I don't trust these fellows. You remember it was the same noise when they wanted to build Kusile and Medupi. Yeah. But it turned out that it was a cash cow for ANC through Chancellor House. You see now we are getting fuel being raised almost every month. But it turned out that ANC through Bato Trust and Tebe Investments, they are partners with Shell. So I don't trust these hasty programs, but let us pray that come the June this year, the results will be announced and that the ANC will not get a majority. Yeah. Then if there will be a government of national unity or coalition government, we will be able to allow those who are complaining about the NHI to come and make a presentation. We cannot risk and pretend that there are no problems. We have to iron them out. But the implementation of that act, of this bill, strictly speaking, it will only take place after 3 or 4 years because the infrastructure we have right now in the townships, in the rural areas, will not help.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Chiefs needs a national unity summit, something along the lines as well to come?
You're out of order, young man. You're out of order. You deserve to be shambok, eh?
They need some sort of intervention, General.
Well. I think the leadership of the Kaiser Chiefs is aware of what should be done now.
Are you still hopeful, though?
No, I'm hopeful. I support Kaiser Chiefs. Yeah. From its inception, 1970.
Yeah.
I've been following it.
And you remain a Kaiser Chiefs fan?
Yes.
You were speaking about golf earlier, and tell us about your handicaps.
I think now it must have gone to 18.
Yeah.
Normally it's 14.
Yeah. General, thank you so much for your time. Really, right. I truly appreciate it. That is General Bantu Holomisa, who is the leader of the UDM, and as you heard as well, a die-hard fan of Kaiser Chiefs, no matter what happens.